Hey, everybody, welcome to Matt Men, your source for all things professional wrestling. I'm Andrew Zarian, and I'm joined by the original author of Baby Got Back, Rich Stambolian.
You know what? True story. I did write that song. I wrote that song. I wrote Funky Cole Medina. I wrote Wild Thing, the Tone Loc version. I even wrote. I wrote all
Were you also in Ace Ventura as a detective?
I was Ace Ventura. I also wrote Fantastic Voyage for Coolio, but I did not write Gangster's Paradise.
How about the Fantastic Four?
I love them.
You love the Fantastic Four.
I do love the Fantastic Four.
I went down a rabbit hole last night about the early Marvel MCU. That
cool.
The only MCU that ever existed that had full crossover within every Marvel property that at the time it was being produced, Spider-Man, the animated series.
Yeah.
They had full ability to use any character from the Marvel universe in that series.
Because the animated shows had like these weird laws that weren't attached to studios. You know?
Yeah.
So like Sony, if you're making a movie, you know, you got a politic. I feel like the MCU is in the state it's in now because Sony and Marvel politicked each other into like, my guy's got to be in your movie and you guys got to be in my movie. Is that cool?
Yeah. I actually experienced what it would be like to be in a Marvel MCU, but on the X-Men side. So I got the vaccine a couple weeks ago. I don't know if we spoke about it on the show. I got the Pfizer vaccine at the Javits Center. So military run, lines. You also went to the Javits Center to get yours. And your experience is very different than mine because your experience was like 20 minutes in and out. Mine was the equivalence of all the mutants from the X-Men universe waiting in line to go to Genosha.
Oh my God.
That is the exact definition. So do you remember in that episode, in the animated series, right? They show all these people from like the X-Men universe, but like they don't say who they are.
It's like
right?
the Morlocks and like
the Morlocks, tons of Morlocks. Everybody was a Morlock, but they don't say who it is because then they got to pay like licensing fees. So they were only allowed X amount. So they're kind of like crappily drawn versions of them. That's exactly what this line was. A sea of purple, green hair, people with retractable arms were online. There was
like
a woman that
grabbers?
like the arm like Scorpion. Somebody had a scorpion arm on that line.
Oh,
Somebody lifted her leg, got very upset, just shot out lasers from her leg.
Are you sure you weren't online for like a Rammstein concert?
No, it was CBGB actually. No, it was a false memory of going to CBGB's.
Everybody who I know who got the vaccine at the Javits said they waited an inordinate amount of time, and I feel very lucky and spoiled because on Friday it was as if the universe said, this guy don't like waiting on the lines, and I was in and out, like literally walked in and out. It was like the time that you got sneezed on and you made it in and then just came right out. That was exactly it.
I don't think people remember that, but we went to Comic-Con one year, and I don't like conventions. I don't like to be around people like that. Those type of people,
Oh my God. Harsh.
No, I just don't want to. I don't want to. It's too much. It's a lot of mutants walking around, right? And nobody's on best behavior either. Everybody's,
no.
Everybody's,
I agree with that.
And I'll tell you why. Because there's a mask, right? They're covered. They're in cosplay. They're wearing some stupid shirt. So I get in that. I'm like, Rich, I swear to God, if one of these effing mutants sneezes on me, I'm out of here, right? Literally word for word what I said. And I was kind of joking. I get in. This mamma jamma of a person
that's a good way to put it.
Comes right in front of me, sneezes all over me, like right in my face. I look at Rich and I look at Jonathan because Jonathan was doing the show at the time. I go, all right, guys, I'll see you at the bar. I ran out the door. There was a taxi. I hailed the taxi. I just got the pen and I went back home. That was it. I went to the bar.
It was great. Can we call cabs capsies now?
Cabsies.
I
want to use it as an insult. What are you, a cabsy?
What are you, a capsy? You bent the story a little bit, but it's pretty much true. Like you
very
got
much
sneezed
true.
on, you walked right out, stuck your arm out, and a car came in. I never saw anything like it in my life. A car came and picked you up immediately. I got a text half an hour later saying, I'm on Bell, I'm at press. If you guys want to meet me here, I'll be here for the rest of the day.
that person right now, if it was today, that sneezed on me, should be charged on federal charges. That's assault. It's biological warfare.
That
Never forget our face.
That's another good name for the. It's another good name for the odors and aromas at Comic-Con. Biological warfare.
Oh my guys, this show is all about professional wrestling. If this is the first time you're tuning in, listen, we like to have a lot of fun here. I'm Andrade, of course, Rich Stampoli. I'm doing the show for almost 10 years now. Yeah. Lifelong friends, 20 some odd year friendship, and one day we're like, hey, let's just talk about pro wrestling, and here we are on F4W on the Wrestling Observer website. On YouTube, on Twitch, everywhere you could find us. Everywhere podcasts are available. I always encourage you guys, go subscribe to our channel, Matt Men Podcast here on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Of course, subscribe to F4W's YouTube account also. We have a lot to get to. Last week, we did not do a show. I had the week from hell. Last week, I had a bunch of stuff I had to do in the city, so it was almost impossible to schedule something. We were supposed to record yesterday, but I got back from Manhattan. I spent the weekend in the city. So we decided, you know what, Monday morning, good way to kick off the week. There's a ton of news happening, and normally we run down the matches and the shows that we watch. But I want to start off with the news, and that's the breaking news that Andrade has asked for his release. So this is very interesting. He has not been on TV for quite some time. There was a bizarre suspension at one point of his run. As we know, he's engaged to Charlotte Flair. Unbelievable talent. They were really heating up to him until about Paul Heyman's departure as lead creative on the Raw side. And immediately you could see the effects of Paul Heyman leaving creative and all the directions that they were going with Humberto, with him, with, who was it? Garza, right?
Yeah, Angel Garza.
Angel Garza. Who else were they pushing?
It was Angel Garza, Austin Theory, and Andrade, right? They were
that crew. But they also had Aleister Black was another one they were starting to push at the same time.
He's donezo, right,
dude? I don't want to go into it, but it's not. There's a lot of issues right now.
Fascinating.
There's a ton of issues. I've heard some rumors that I would. If it was a week ago, I would have probably brought it up on the show, but I want to wait till Thursday to bring this up because I need to I need to follow up. I haven't followed up on a lot of stuff, but there's a lot of speculation here. The Andrade thing is interesting because I spoke to someone within WWE. They didn't deny. He just wasn't. He hadn't followed up on this, but they said, "Listen, we were told." A lot of people said that he's very unhappy, but also he likes to do this sometimes, and. If you see it go public on his side, it could possibly be that he's working something.
Interesting. Is that screen cap you sent yesterday for real, or was that photoshopped?
Which screen cap was that?
The one with him and Charlotte on the lounge chair.
Oh no, that's a real photo.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh buddy.
No, nothing bad. Nothing bad. It was posted publicly. There's nothing bad. Nothing bad. Somebody else posted a photo, the same one with a caption. The caption's not real.
That's what I wanted to. Okay.
No. Because
I was going to say that's a bold move.
No. That is not real. That is not real. I don't even want to repeat because this is a family friendly show. Brian Alvarez tells me keep this PG-9.
PG-9.
Keep this 9-year-old level. He told us that we got to behave. We cannot. No, I'm joking. I don't know what happened with that guy because, man, you know what? What a good-looking guy. Yeah. Great look on him, great hair. I always say the magic is a great body, great hair, and great tan, and this guy completes it, and a phenomenal worker.
You know what? I will give you my 2 cents on Andrade.
Tell me.
You ready? Okay. So I'm going to go in a little bit of a circle, but I feel like and this is from my perspective, and the way WWE works, right? Perception. Andrade, as amazing as he is, I feel like if he gives them guff or trouble or whatever, they can say, listen, you know what? We're going to grant your release. We have Santos Escobar, and that guy is gold, right?
Santos says, yeah, he is. But Andrade was gold too during his last run in NXT. Remember how great he was?
I think it's the English speaking thing where like Santos Escobar, that guy's cutting better promos in English now, right? Yeah. Where I think they wanted that for Andrade, and they probably would have no qualms to say like, hey, listen, like we're gonna cut you loose. On the other side of it, like look what they did with Mystico, right? Where he was Sin Cara. They were like, hey, we don't need you anymore, but we do like the costume, so we're gonna put somebody else in the costume. See you later.
Yeah, I don't, I think Andrade has more presence, in my opinion, than Santos Escobar. There's presence. Also, Andrade had a 5-star match in NXT, according to MG Geek.
Yeah.
I feel like, I don't know if it's has anything to do with Charlotte. I mean, listen, you don't want to speculate here, but obviously he's unhappy with his positioning. This guy was promised the moon, and he really didn't do much. And Zelina's gone, which was a big part of his act.
Yeah.
That takes away from it. And they were saying that they were going to put Charlotte and him together at one point, and obviously that's always the kiss of death because Charlotte will overshadow him.
Yes.
Same thing with Becky and Seth. We saw what happened with Becky and Seth, and that did not work out well. Nobody really wanted to see that because, it was cringy because their characters. Seth is vile, Even when he's a babyface, he's still vile. You kind of like that in him. And Becky became such a strong character on her own where you combined the two and it removed every piece of importance that they had.
It was, I saw that as like, perceptively it came off as Seth was a little bit emasculated in that whole thing that they did.
Yeah.
But that could just be the office breaking balls,
It could be that. Listen, we've discussed, in detail some of the stuff that's been told to us by writers, especially from that first SmackDown episode on Fox where Seth blew a gasket because Becky's promo was kind of overshadowed by The Rock. This is coming from a writer. Like I'm not even, and same source that's told us a lot of stuff. Like a lot of people, they don't want to deal with him because he's difficult. But the same goes for a lot of the women on the roster too. Remember, he kind of broke down, why certain women have been able to be in a prominent position, and he perfectly said it's because of their willingness to argue and tell you that this is dumb and they're not doing it.
Listen, you got a politic, right?
Where, by the way, a lot of the guys don't do it as much, And he was actually, it was very interesting. He said that the women are way more vocal in the company when something is stupid, and he was agreeing with them. By the way, he wasn't saying it in like they're being annoying. That the women are more willing to tell you straight to your face, I'm not doing that. That sounds really stupid and it's going to hurt my character. While the men do it because they're afraid. The second they say no, something is going to happen. There's a weird thing happening, and you can kind of see that because the women are being booked so much better.
That is true. You gotta, and there's a comment in the chat room here that I kind of want to address too.
Yeah.
John Gorman says it's unreal that Andrade, Aleister Black, Keith Lee, and Ricochet won't be on WrestleMania, and they were the core of a white hot NXT at one point.
Yeah, great, very well said, John. Well, listen, this goes back to the lack of focus that we talk about constantly, right? You have all the freaking talent in the world. How do you not have these guys in prominent positions? They're getting into a and we'll talk about this because I think this is an important conversation to have. But they're getting into like a little bit of a dangerous situation here with creative because they have all this talent that's not being utilized in any possible way. They're doing a great job at focusing on one or two or three guys. But when you talk about the mid card, that's your bread and butter of creating the next level. They've abandoned it.
It's kind of a mess.
It is a mess. And listen, man, 40 some odd writers or 30 some, whatever the hell you want to say, plus agents, plus the old man, everything gets twisted. You got a guy like Ricochet. Keith Lee, you know what? I'm going to tell you something, and this is very unpopular. I get why they don't get Keith Lee.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not agreeing with them, but I understand why they have an issue with him because he is not the traditional big man. And when you get that in their hands, like, listen, Vader, Bam Bam, not the traditional big man, right? They were very agile, but they still were the big man. Keith Lee wrestles like a guy that's way lighter than him and way more agile than him. But it's his style. It works.
Right.
And they don't know what to do with
dance. That's what brought him to the dance to begin with.
Andrade, no excuse, right? No excuse. Aleister Black, no freaking excuse. They invested so much work into this guy. And what did they do?
Yeah, man. One of the coolest entrances of recent memory, right?
Hard hitting, tough guy. You know,
and they made him a pirate.
They made him into a freaking angry pirate. So there you go. Ricochet, nothing, zero.
It's bizarre. It's bizarre. It really perceptively, it really makes you think about that singular vision that exists at the top of the food chain. You know, where it's if this doesn't fit the vision of what I want, I don't really care for it. You know, and that vision is generally, your bigger dudes. You know, your Romans, your Brocks, your Drews. And, Bobby Lashley too, and it's not a knock on them at all, but it's that singular tunnel vision of we need to show them big muscle, tough.
By the way,
champion,
that's fine. You could have both, right? You could have both. Why isn't Ricochet the Cruiserweight champion and have that air, have those matches on Raw? Why?
Or honestly, US champ. Right?
Or U.S. champ. Or why don't you move some of these guys back down to NXT? You saw the success Finn Balor had. I mean, listen, Balor was always at the top of the food chain because he was one of the original projects for Hunter. But they didn't treat him well on the main roster. They didn't position him well. Yeah, obviously he got injured and other things happened. But take this guy, you moved him to NXT, and he really is the main force on that roster. You could do the same with Ricochet. You could do the same with Aleister Black. You could do the same with Keith Lee. If you don't know how to use them, why hurt them? Why not? You have an avenue for them. You have someplace to put them. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens after Mania. I know that there's a ton of plans after Mania, even though we don't really know full plans for Mania. But that's one aspect of this. So let's. Are you ready
for our 45 hours of coverage for WrestleMania?
Oh my God! Let's talk about the WrestleMania schedule here, and then we'll go into some of the other news, like John Laurinaitis returning as head of talent relations here. So WrestleMania schedule for the week is out. So this is how this is working. We have 9 days of wrestling back to back.
That's a lot, dude.
Okay, so Monday, the Monday Night Raw Go Home show is April 5th. Tuesday is the 2021 Hall of Fame ceremony live on Peacock. Okay,
Cool,
April 6th. Wednesday, the 7th, NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver Night 1 on the USA Network. As, by the way, how many weeks ago did we say this?
We did mention this.
About a week and a half ago.
Shows up.
About a week and a half ago, we brought this up. Kudos to my friend over at NBC. So that's night 1. Night 2, so you got a 2-night NXT, is Thursday the 8th, NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver Night 2, exclusively on Peacock. I'm very curious how they're doing this. And also, this is very smart because they're getting 2 shows back-to-back on a very busy week, so they're going to be able to scale it properly for WrestleMania, hopefully. We'll see. Friday the 9th, you got Friday Night SmackDown, the official go-home for WrestleMania. Saturday the 10th, WrestleMania Night 1, exclusively on Peacock. Sunday the 11th, WrestleMania Night 2, again on Peacock. Wow. Then you got Monday Night Raw on the 12th, right? The 12th, you got Monday Night Raw. Tuesday, you got the debut of NXT on Tuesday nights on USA.
That is a lot, dude. That is a lot of wrestling.
A lot of WWE wrestling. I'm not even adding AEW, and I'm not adding Impact and MLW and Ring of Honor and everything else.
New Japan. Yeah.
Or New Japan.
I posted a question on Twitter the other night asking people, hey, are you guys excited for WrestleMania? And they pretty much got a resounding no.
Listen, I'm always excited for WrestleMania because it's WrestleMania, but they've done a terrible job at talking about what they're going to do here, right? The card isn't finalized. We know 2 of the matches, at least, right? Yeah. We know that it's going to be Edge and Reigns, and we know it's going to be Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks. Everything else is kind of still up in the air. The other news is the ticket sales. So tickets go on sale tomorrow, Tuesday, the 16th. Limited. They're not releasing all of them on Tuesday, but WWE wants to put over 40,000 people in that building.
How big is the building? What's the capacity on that building?
Oh, it's big. It's like 75, 80,000. Has to be.
You can distance. You can distance that properly.
No.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm not even gonna. I don't even want to go down the rabbit hole of speculating should they or shouldn't they. Right? I'm not even going to go down that rabbit hole. What I am going to question is, do they have the ability to sell 90,000 tickets?
Yes.
In this the era, the moment that we're in. That's my question here. Will they be able to sell 45,000 tickets per night for WrestleMania
absolutely
with, by the way, less than 1 month? Less than 30 days. They have like 25 days to do this. Normally, WrestleMania tickets go on sale. The majority of the tickets sell immediately, but they still sell thousands of tickets leading up to the day.
My answer is yes, 100%. You know why? People want to go see WrestleMania. They haven't been to a live show in a very long time. This has been a year of staying indoors for the most part. I think those tickets will sell out within a day, to be honest with you. And plus, by that time, you would think and hope that most people would be vaccinated. So it would just kind of make sense that they would feel a little bit safer. Again, we're not talking about, is this the right thing to do? Your question is, will they be able to do it? Yeah, they're. Will
they be able to do it? Will people want to go? Listen, I would say I think in this moment people are getting very antsy to go out.
100%.
Like I stayed in Manhattan, right? I'm vaccinated, so I don't have a lot of the gripes that a lot of people do. But even if I wasn't, I probably would have still done this trip to the city. But I got to tell you, a lot of people are out. A lot of people are going out to eat. They're going out to drink. They want to do stuff. They want to be entertained. So is it possible? Yes, I think so. I don't think we're going to have international, a big portion of WrestleMania is international. I don't think we're going to see a lot of that. But, if you're in Florida, if you're in New York, you're a two-hour flight away from Tampa, you might consider this. You might consider going. And I don't know what they're going to be capable of. The rumor now is that Vince wants to do 45,000 per night. Listen, we confirmed the 25K, 30K number. I don't know if they 15,000 more people in the building. They feel like they could do it. All right. Let's see.
I think they could do it. I feel like, like how many crazy diehard wrestling fans do you personally know that will get on a plane to go to WrestleMania?
In a normal situation, many. I don't know. I haven't gauged this. I think that's a good question. And tomorrow will be a great indicator when we see the tickets go on sale and how people react to it.
We're going to need to do a couple of videos for that too.
Yes.
Just throwing it in there.
Yeah. Tomorrow we'll do that. So tomorrow tickets go on sale for WrestleMania. So we'll see what happens there. Very interesting. NXT television also had actually, let me skip that because I'll go into NXT TV after this. I want to go into the Impact news because I feel like this is a big story for Impact Wrestling. Rich Swann, there was a pay-per-view at Sacrifice on Saturday. Rich Swann and Moose competed in a unification match between the Impact Championship and the TNA Championship. Funny that they still have the TNA title still on TV.
Yeah.
Moose has been walking around. It's almost like the Legends title for him, right? They've had these two titles. Rich Swann defeated Moose with a cutter. So Moose went off the top rope, did some crazy, I guess, crossbody, or he was attempting something, and he caught him, and he hit him with a cutter, got one. So now that means Rich Swann will face Kenny Omega in a title-for-title match. Both titles on the line of Rebellion on April 24th.
Crazy.
This could mean that, obviously, Rich Swann could become the unified Impact and the AEW World Heavyweight Champion. By the way, the title is now the Impact World Championship. So now they have a world title once again. Kenny Omega most likely will win this, and he will start his belt collector gimmick, because technically he still has a AAA title.
He has a AAA title. He's got the AEW title. He's definitely going to get that Impact title. And then I think maybe one or two more, and then that's when you see the implosion.
Everything starts falling apart. Yeah. Also, Finn Juice defeated the Good Brothers to become Impact Tag Team champions at Sacrifice, meaning we're going to see the Impact title in New Japan?
I think so. I think you're going to get some like wild stuff now. Like in the next year, like once like the world is, this is like wrestling is like turning the crank, and it's gonna let it go once the world starts opening up more. We're gonna see some. I think we're gonna see some wild shit. To be honest with you.
Yeah. Excited for that. I think that's very interesting, and I think it's great news for Impact because you could tell that the ratings have been better. I want to get into the AEW pay-per-view numbers also right after this, but I do want to spend some time on this. John Laurinaitis has assumed his role as talent as with one of the heads of talent relations.
I'm back.
I'm back. I find this is a very interesting move, and I was very busy all week, so I didn't get a chance to email anybody about this. I'll ask this week, and I'll probably get an answer now that it's been a couple days. Very strange. I'm very surprised that they went to John Laurinaitis. You know, everybody knows the stories about him as head of creative. He wasn't very much into the wrestling or athleticism, and he hired based on physique more, especially with the women, right? That whole Divas era was a John Laurinaitis thing between him and you know, we know the story about him unfortunately hiring the wrong one-legged wrestler.
Insane.
Which is hysterical. Yeah, boss, I hired him, but he's really old. They were looking for Zach Gowen, and they hired somebody else.
They hired Zach Galifianakis.
Zach Galifianakis, unfortunately. He's Greek.
He's great. So funny.
So I was told a bizarre reason for this, and they said that there's going to be a lot of crossover with the Bellas. And,
I believe it. It's not bizarre, Andrew.
His daughter is going to be listen. I don't watch Total Bellas, so I don't know if this has already happened or it's happening.
You love Total Bellas, man.
Hey guys, it's Andy Bella, and he's back. And I just want to let you know that if you want to get with me, you can't. That's what he says now. And then I just shake my ass, but I twerk like at the Grammys, like I'm performing WAP with Rich.
You got to learn how to.
We need that Photoshop, by the way. But I don't want to be Cardi. I want to be the other one. You could be Cardi B.
I'll be Cardi B.
What's the other one's name?
The other one.
The Stallion.
Megan Stallion?
Megan. I was going to call her Melanie the Stallion, but that's not her name.
I'll be Cardi B, but you have to call me Captain Picardi B.
Okay, Captain Picardi B. I like it. So John Laurinaitis, but I don't... Very strange, because... listen, you can speculate and say, listen, this is Vince's move to put people that he trusts in positions. You know, we see that... we see Bruce Pritchard, you know, getting murdered right now. And extremely overworked and overwhelmed with his position. So maybe this will help a little bit. I don't know. I don't know how this is going to affect it, but I don't think John Laurinaitis had a phenomenal track record with a lot of the wrestlers.
Nope.
So we'll see. Nope.
He's very forthcoming with his mistakes.
Very forthcoming. NXT news. A lot of people. How many people sent us a message asking for an update on NXT from me?
So many people.
People. I got so many DMs about this. So a lot of people are like, well, now it's not going to happen because NHL is signed with ESPN. This has nothing to do with it. NHL still needs to air the playoffs on USA.
Yeah.
So they're still going to put it on Wednesday unless something has totally shifted that I'm not aware of. And as of Friday, when I reached out to people at NBC, they said, no, it's still going on Tuesday. So I don't know. I don't know if anything has really changed. As far as I know, no. The answer is no as of right now, Monday at almost 11 a.m. So we'll see what happens. I'll follow up again this week, and I'll give you guys some more answers. And Peacock migration starts this Thursday. Most recent content will go up first, obviously, but the archive content will be available before SummerSlam. So they're not migrating properly. I don't like how they're doing this migration. Because they are not migrating, they're starting over. It's not really a migration. So initially, I was told the plan was, there were two scenarios here, right? One plan was to have everything migrated automatically. You just log in with your WWE account and you're done. It's over, right? You're logged in. Now you need to create a whole separate account. WWE Network gets out. They're going to phase it away. They're not doing this other thing that we thought they would do. The other option was to have some sort of, when you go to WWE.com, it just redirects you with a Peacock logo on the side.
Yeah.
It's like, it was still going to be what you think of the WWE Network until they got their shit together. That's not happening either. But the WWE Network is still functional 100% outside of the U.S.
Okay.
So
it's very confusing.
If I were to do this, I would, for example, use a friend's address in the UK or somewhere else, or use their WWE login information, because I don't like that I don't have access to my stuff.
Or a VPN.
Where the hell am I going to watch Mid-South Wrestling daily? In a very seductive and sensual way, might I add. I have a thing for a young Jim Ross, so what can I do? No, but you know what I mean? Like, I feel like this is going to be a little bit of a disaster, the migration. And think about how many people will not migrate over because you need to now recreate accounts.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pain, and plus, like, I feel like with every single account you have for everything you have and subscribe to, at some point during the month, you have to re-enter your information. And you know what? It makes me want to throw my computer out a window.
Listen, I know. Same here. Guys, submit your questions in the chat room, by the way. We're going to be doing questions in about 10 minutes. Rich, did you see the AEW numbers for their pay-per-view for Revolution?
I did, man. Very impressive. I believe it was, 125,000 buys?
So, this is from Sean, which he's always right, okay? Sean is one of the most, he does the most due diligence when it comes to releasing a story here. I'm going to say his number is off here.
Okay.
According to the Fightful Select, he's reporting that, and by the way, I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm just based on what I was told. I'm going based on my information. 125,000 worldwide buys. That is absolutely correct without the pay-per-view buys. That is just BR Live and Fight. That is not pay-per-view numbers. So he's reporting that the gross is just over 5 million. I was told that the number is over 6 million for this.
Interesting. Okay.
Right? The final number has not been reported yet, obviously, because it's you don't have the pay-per-view numbers. That takes a little bit of time. I expect it to be maybe closer to 175, not 125. But that's, again, listen, it's fine. It's the same number. Let's just consider it the same number. But the interesting part is that this is the most grossing non-WWE pay-per-view in over 20 years. And it is the most watched non-WWE pro wrestling pay-per-view since 1999.
Crazy.
This has topped we're think about that. Think about how bad WCW had to have been doing in 99.
Right.
To get 125 to 175,000 views on a pay-per-view. They were really bottom of the barrel at that point. I think 2000 and 2001, they kind of fixed this up a little bit. But if this is the case, I mean, that is wild to think that WCW was not able to do more than 125,000 buys on a pay-per-view for 2 years.
Yeah, dude, that's bizarre. It's really cool, though, that we're seeing like this trend of this many people bought this thing, which is awesome. A
lot of people bought it. I'm curious if they're going to be disappointed. That's the well, I actually have numbers here. Do you want to see what the numbers are?
Yeah, let's do it.
So this is interesting.
Yeah.
This is WCW. We're going to go with WCW numbers. This is courtesy of WrestleNomics, okay? Which their numbers are always absolutely correct. Greed did 50,000 buys, the last pay-per-view. Okay. Super Brawl Revenge did 70,000. Sin did 80. Mayhem did 55. Halloween Havoc 2000, 75,000. 100,000. Bash at the Beach 2000 did 100,000 buys. That was the infamous Hulk Hogan, ban from WCW. Starcade 99 did 145,000. Wow. Sold Out does 115,000. So Starcade 99 is the last pay-per-view that did that kind of number.
Wow. And that's 21 years ago?
Sold Out. They beat Sold Out 2000. So it looks like they beat Starcade 99, yeah. 145,000. The one before that did 200, 230, 130 for Fall Brawl. It seems like everything fell apart in 2000.
Yeah. for everything.
For everything, yeah. So very interesting.
Were you disappointed that you had to pay for the AEW pay-per-view?
No, I was fine with it. A lot of people were, though. A lot of people were very disappointed.
A lot of people were upset that it was $50.
Do you know what the most ordered pay-per-view in WCW's history was?
Starrcade 97.
Yep. 750,000 buys.
I was right.
The same as ECW One Night Stand 1.
Oh, that was such a great pay-per-view.
I'm sorry. No, I'm wrong there. I'm sorry. Invasion pay-per-view. Same as the Invasion. I was close, though. Same as the Invasion. So, big news. I mean, I think that's phenomenal. Now it's a matter of, are people going to be disappointed with the reveal and with the ending to the main event? I don't know. That's to be seen. It was a dud. It absolutely was a dud. They did a good job on AEW at attempting to address what happened.
Well, I think Mox got ahead of it with his end of the night speech, and then they rolled with that, because after the show went off the air, he was saying that Kenny Omega is not a good bomb maker. And they furthered that with Tony Khan saying something and then going into the whole thing that happened on Wednesday. Listen, I appreciate the fact that they didn't patronize the fans, right? They didn't go business as usual. They didn't blow it up to be the greatest thing in the world. I feel like you can't avoid that comparison with WWE. Like if WWE had a dud, they'd make you think it was like the greatest thing that ever happened.
Yeah.
Like forever,
Yeah, well, I mean, they did acknowledge it, and you're right. He did get ahead of the story, and they really went with it. So Moxley, obviously, after the match, said that this sucked, right? Pretty much. He can't make a freaking bomb. Tony Khan mentioned it in his post interview, and on the show, Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley addressed what happened. Kingston implied that he had a panic attack, and he kind of had tunnel vision because it reminded him at the time that he was in Rikers, waiting to be sent to prison, and he sat in a jail cell. And they were going to send him to Rikers, or they were going to send him to Sing Sing, and he had this panic attack, and he didn't know what to do, and he just covered Mox, thinking something bad was going to happen. At the end of the show, he came out. So, you want to break that down? What happened? Because you watched it live, and you guys were losing it in the chat. I had to watch it a couple days later.
Yeah. Well, I mean, do you mean that Kingston part where he covered him?
No. The promo between Kingston, Kenny, Callis, and the laying on the floor, north-south.
Okay,
yeah.
North-south. Yeah. So I couldn't stop laughing. Kenny comes out with Don Callis and the Good Brothers on Wednesday and starts really leaning into Eddie Kingston, making fun of him. And I believe the phrase used was 69 me Don.
North-south position, 69 me Don.
Making fun of how Kingston covered Mox. And I was like, you know what? What a great way to turn the tables on the dud explosion and to make fun of these guys.
First of all, I can't believe they said it. I can't believe he said 69 me on TV.
And Don got up to him.
And Don didn't. And then Kenny shimmied him on top of him.
So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Did you ever think we were going to see a Mox Kingston Kenny Omega feud with the addition of Christian of all people?
No, I think I think it's pretty cool. Listen, I it's different, right? And I'm not even going to go into like, is it going to work out well? Is it going to be good? It's regardless of the end result. I think it's a really interesting combination of people in a match, including the Good Brothers too. They're involved. Don Callis has become. I mean, you want to talk about a revival of a career. I don't think.
Oh, for sure.
I don't think we've had anybody. I mean, obviously, someone's going to find it, but it's a rarity in pro wrestling to be in it, then have all these opportunities in front of you. None of it happens really, and you just revive your entire career on a fluke, really. Because the only reason why Don Callis came back into wrestling is because Steve Corino went to WWE.
Was it Corino?
Because it wasn't Corino calling the New Japan stuff?
Yes.
Yeah, right? He was calling... somebody correct me. I know he was doing Ring of Honor, but I believe Corino was on the New Japan stuff. And maybe I'm wrong.
I think...
How did Don Callis get involved with New Japan? I'm almost 100% this is how it was.
I think it was Kenny. I think it was Kenny saying, "Hey, why don't you come and do commentary over here? We're trying to do this American expansion."
But I don't think Kenny knew him.
I think he told Don Callis was on I think Jericho's podcast about a month ago, and he told the whole story. Where they're all like, it's like the Canadian connection with like Kenny's uncle, like the Sheik.
Kenny's uncle and Callis trained together, but I don't think he remembers Kenny, but he does. I don't think they were like close.
But you know what I mean? Think it was either Jericho or Kenny that brought him on for commentary.
It could have been Jericho.
That got the ball rolling.
Yeah. So, very interesting. I mean, how things happen, but this guy, you gotta really give it up to him. He's such a talent, very underrecognized in his ECW run.
Yeah.
As a color commentator, very underutilized in WWE as the Jackal.
Yes.
Can you believe that this whole guy's career would have taken a whole different turn if he had signed that contract with WCW to be Rick Martel's tag team partner?
Pretty crazy.
Actually,
it's
no.
Crazy.
In WWF, he was supposed to go to WWF as Rick Martel's partner, right?
It's pretty crazy how like some like stuff happens like this in wrestling, and then like 20 years later you get not even a payoff, but you get like a crazy resurgence, right? That doesn't happen in any other sport.
There's a trend on TikTok which I want to do on our TikTok. By the way, TikTok, Mattman Wrestling, Mattman Pro Wrestling on TikTok. You can follow us there. Jonathan does some great work there and puts up a bunch of clips and a bunch of funny stuff from the show. But there's a thing saying like, what's a big historical domino effect that you can't believe, right? Or that was a big deal. There's so many of those in wrestling. Like, I love doing the what ifs. Like, what if Bret Hart never left? Like, the whole Bret Hart 20-year contract thing was a domino effect of the whole Austin run, Yeah. So there's a lot of these domino effects, and this is one, if him and Rick Martel did become tag team partners in WCW, what would have happened? I don't think we wouldn't be having any of this right now.
I agree with that. I think it's a lot of fun to do that, especially, and we always go to like the modern day of like, if Cody never left and hit the indies with such vigor. I feel like we wouldn't really have a lot of what we have right now.
You know what? That is a domino effect that I'd love to spend more time on one day. Cody's indie run and his because remember, it was a temporary run. Cody did not want to wrestle anymore like that. He wanted to get more into acting. So there was an article around the time that he left, and he's like, "Listen, I'm going to do these every now and then, but I'm not doing it for money. I'm doing it for fun and to help revitalize a little bit of wrestling." Putting me on a card. Like, remember he gave that guy the money back to buy a ring because a ring was broken, so he bought him a ring. It was more charity work on Cody's behalf, but you know what? He had to relearn how to work a non-WWE style, and he did a great job with it.
Well, he made that list too and stuck with it.
He did stick with it.
The dream list of opponents, and then meeting the Bucks, and then meeting Kenny, and then doing the Bullet Club stuff, and that's spiraling into like what we have now, the bet with Meltzer and all that. It's very fascinating, the trajectory of like there's one dude who's the son of a plumber.
Yeah, very interesting stuff. What do you want to touch on, Rich?
Well, we also have the premiere of AEW Dark Elevation tonight with the Big Show on commentary. Well, Paul White.
Yes.
The former Big Show.
So right now we have 3 AEW shows and with a 4th one in the works.
Pretty fascinating, man.
Because there's going to be another one.
Are you going to watch tonight? Or are you going to watch the AEW?
I'll watch. Yeah, it's on YouTube, right?
Yeah. It's on YouTube at 7. Squeezing it in before Raw. I think I'm going to check it out tonight. Should be fun. I really want to see Paul White on commentary. I also feel like this is going to lead up to, you ready?
Yeah.
Cody and Paul White teaming up against Pentagon and Shaq.
Oh man, I would love that.
I think I have this weird feeling that that's the match we're going to end up getting.
Is Shaq going to do this thing? Is he going to do this thing?
Yes. Whatever that is, he's going to do it.
This thing?
Yeah, he's going to do that.
Isn't that what Penta does? He goes like this.
He goes zero, the up and down.
Yeah,
this thing?
there you go. That thing.
He's going to do that.
No, I like it like a limp 4 horsemen. Like you just got your nails done. You're just air drying them.
I'm telling you, man, Shaq is going to come out dressed like Penta at some point.
Oh, my God. You know what? I would eat. 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 I wo I would eat my shoe.
Cheeseburger.
I would eat my shoe if that happened. I would love to see it.
I feel like you want to manifest a relationship with David Arquette. I want to manifest seeing Shaq in a full-blown Penta Zero Miedo outfit.
I love it. I'm into it. SmackDown. A lot of stuff happened on SmackDown. It was an interesting SmackDown. You know, they're building the story for Sasha, and they finally started doing it for the title match. But what's happening with Daniel Bryan right now?
That's a good question. What is happening with Daniel Bryan right now?
Is he getting a title match? Is he getting a title match at WrestleMania?
Yeah. Let's say yes.
With who?
Let's say yes. I don't know. Bobby Lashley.
You know what? I got to talk about Bobby Lashley and the Planet of the Rocks because this guy is unbelievable. So next week, Edge versus Jey Uso. Winner is a special enforcer for the Universal title match at Fastlane. Jey Uso is wrestling, but Jimmy is coming back like now. So most likely there's a pay-per-view this Sunday, boys and girls. I think a lot of people don't remember that.
Is there really?
There is. Fastlane is Sunday.
Oh, boy.
By the way, we'll be live doing a watch-along on Sunday. I don't know if we're going to be doing it on our channel or we'll be doing it on the F4W channel. I'll confirm that and we'll announce it on Thursday, but we'll be doing a watch-along for sure. The last pay-per-view before WrestleMania. And how many matches do we have here? Here we go. You ready for this?
I'm ready. Let's go.
So we got Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan for the Universal Championship. But man, what a great... You know what? If you want to do that Roman Reigns Goldberg match, just going to say, if you want it to mean enough, but not in a title match, this is how you do it. Or what if you have Daniel Bryan beat Roman Reigns in a weirdo finish, which I don't expect them to do that. I think what's going to happen is Jimmy Uso is going to come out, cost Daniel Bryan the championship, and now you have Jimmy Uso part of the crew, right?
Okay.
But if you were to take the title off Daniel Bryan, now you got a Daniel Bryan and Edge match. You could possibly do that. Roman Reigns and Edge you could still do. You could incorporate Bill Goldberg because I know you want to use him, right? They're dying to use him. You could put Bill Goldberg in this match somehow. There's a lot of moving parts, so fine, whatever. You also have Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler versus Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. This is when you're going to see the flip happen, right? The full turn.
Absolutely.
Apollo Crews versus Big E for the Intercontinental Championship. That is what is announced so far.
Are you looking forward to it?
Not really.
Yeah. Also, everything you said about the Daniel Bryan Roman Reigns stuff happening, guess what? Not going to happen. It's not. It's going to be. It's business as usual until WrestleMania. Edge beats Roman. Edge gets the title.
What if Roman wrestles 2 nights? What if that title is defended 2 nights?
Listen, I would love that, but judging by how poorly booked and the perception of WWE, I have, again, low to no expectations from anything cool happening with any of this stuff. I know,
it's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate.
I do think Edge is going to win, though, and I think that's going to be really cool. But they may also do business as usual. Edge loses, and then Goldberg shows up at WrestleMania to challenge Roman for the future Backlash or whatever. Whatever
the hell is there. NXT had an interesting night. They had 2 big announcements on NXT. One being that Stand and Deliver will be 2 nights, like we mentioned, during WrestleMania week. And the second, and this was, I had seen these titles. Okay. I was told I cannot talk about. I mean, they've had these tag titles for God knows how long. They were gonna use them earlier, and then they decided to wait till the Dusty Classic. Okay.
The Dusty Women's Classic.
But here's the problem: the belt wasn't totally completed.
Okay.
I had seen the actual image, like the CG image of this thing. I was like, oh, okay, very standard for NXT, works out. The belt wasn't completed for the Dusty Classic. So they did this convoluted thing where they challenged for the main roster titles, didn't get it, so now they were presented. I don't know. They could have done something else with this presentation. They didn't have to just hand it over to Raquel and Dakota Kai, but they were announced the winners, and they were awarded the brand new pair of titles.
Great.
In a strange thing that I was very surprised. Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart defeated the NXT Tag Team Champions Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez to win the titles.
Great. I like that. I like that a lot.
It worked out. I think it worked out, but it was weird how everything fell apart. I think this was always the plan. They just needed to jump ahead and get to it, which, whatever, it happens sometimes. You also saw Io Shirai defeating Toni Storm to retain the championship. I think the story's going to be Io and Raquel.
Really?
I think that's going to be the story here.
Okay.
Yeah. Jordan Devlin is also on his way to the States to confront Escobar in a unification match, possibly a takeover. Because remember, you have two champions. You have Escobar, which is the interim champion currently, and you have Jordan Devlin, the actual champion. He just hasn't been able to defend the title here because of the lockdown. So you have two titles, two champions. I think it's pretty interesting. You could do a ladder match. You could do an awesome ladder match with these guys to unify the titles.
I think they're super talented, and you can definitely get something like really, really awesome out of like a Jordan Devlin versus Santos Escobar. I'm all about Santos Escobar, by the way. That dude rocks.
Yeah, very cool. He's very good. Also, we saw NXT champion Finn Balor defeat Adam Cole. Kyle O'Reilly distracted Cole, and he beat the crap out of him. Balor was in the ring looking on when he turned around to see Karrion Kross. He said, "What took you so long?"
Goosebumps. They book Finn. Finn might be the best booked person in WWE right now. Next to Roman.
Ending. Look at this. I actually got goosebumps when I repeat it. I think, it's moments like that. It's so simple, right? So simple, but yet it works. It's so effective. Less is more, and this was a great example of less is more. This is going to be a cool match. I'm excited to see it. They've been teasing at it. They've been building at it, and now we're going to get it, and obviously perfect time to do it during the takeovers. So, and you can start off hot on that first Tuesday with your new champion being Karrion Kross holding the title, and figuring out what's happening next. But you know what I do want them to start doing? The night after that big WrestleMania weekend, I think NXT should have the same surprise appearances. Who shows up? Big angles being created. I think they need to start doing that, much like how WWE does it.
Oh yeah, 100%, dude. Like that would add so much fun to NXT. NXT's been very solid. It's been good. Like stuff like this. The end of the last month of NXT, all the episodes have been great.
Yeah.
Doing the Karrion Kross Finn Balor thing, like we knew it was coming, but this was just like you said, when it's simple, it works. Finn turning around saying, "What took you so long?" Do you think we're gonna get like a full blown like demon versus like other demon kind of thing?
Yeah. I don't know. I think we are going to see him come out as, maybe you have the first demon. No, I wouldn't have him do the demon. I think that would be the secondary one. Okay. Have him be the demon and then do his thing.
Or do like half of his face with the
maybe
demon
half his face. I don't know. Yeah. They could do something.
We'll see. We got a month, right?
Yeah, we got a month. What else do we have in the notes?
Let's see here. Fastlane we talked about. We can jump into the questions if you want. A lot of this stuff I have here. Molly Holly, first 2021 entrant of the Hall of Fame. Pretty cool.
Yeah. Very cool.
I think we can jump into the questions unless you want to do the preview for this week's AEW.
Yeah. Let's do that.
It's like St. Patty's Day
Slam.
St. Patty's Day Slam.
Stupid name.
Let's see. What do we got here?
Make it a massacre. St. Patrick's Day Massacre.
Mox and Kingston versus the Good Brothers. Can't wait. WrestleBoner on high alert. Cody Rhodes versus Penta. Can't wait.
Into it.
Love it. I do like Penta in a suit. And last week when he came out calling out Cody in Spanish and English with
I like that a lot. Awesome. Yeah, that was great.
Jurassic Express and Bear Country versus Matt Hardy.
I thought he was gonna call the baby that's due stupid. I don't care for your stupid baby. I thought he would say something.
Baby. Yeah. It'd be amazing.
Imagine he starts calling Cody a stupid baby, and that's his line now.
It'll be so good. And I can't wait for him to be like, "Oh yeah, Cody, well, meet my new best friend, Shaq Cero Miedo." And it's effing Shaq, dude.
With the face paint and the mask and everything.
Full Pentagon makeup.
I think he'd do it too.
I'm calling you out, Cody, with my buddy Pentagon. Jurassic Express and Bear Country versus Matt Hardy, Private Party, The Butcher, and The Blade. Jade Cargill will be in action. you have an unsanctioned anything goes match between Dr. Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa, which I think is going to be cool. It's honestly only a matter of time before either one of these gets that AEW women's title.
You know what? I'm looking at this card, and it's amazing how you could be excited for matches if you produce really good matches and post them prior to the show, right?
Oh,
like, what's
absolutely.
the match? What are we seeing today on? What are we going to see on Raw? What are we going to see tonight on Raw? But even when they tell you the match, here's the problem: you don't believe the match.
Right,
you know what I mean? Like Jon Moxley, Eddie Kingston versus the Good Brothers. You know what? I'm into that. I think that's a cool match. Cody and Penta, right? That's a really cool matchup that you really haven't seen much of.
Right.
If this match was the main event on Raw, I would tell you, oh, they're gonna go at half speed, and they're gonna do some sort of bizarre ending that nobody wants to see.
Yeah. Very weird.
Very interesting. Like if you saw, I mean, just even take this match. You got the Good Brothers, you got Gallows and Anderson against Jon Moxley, and give me a WWE against Dean Ambrose, and give me an equivalent to Eddie Kingston. Give me somebody. Oh my God. You know, no. You need someone a little bigger. Let's go someone a little bigger.
He's good on the mic. I feel like their mic skills are very comparable.
No, I like it. Listen, Enzo's cool. I'm into him. I don't know why. Okay. I think it's a New York thing, but give me somebody else. Eddie Kingston and
Bray Wyatt.
Bray Wyatt. Okay, somebody.
I'm going promo
Bray Wyatt.
Okay.
Swamp Bray Wyatt.
Yeah. Like,
would you give a shit? Would you give a shit that that's a Raw match? No. Why? Because they've trained you into thinking, well, it's a Raw match, so it's not going to mean anything. Pay-per-views only mean something.
Barely.
So fascinating how we're talking about two matches on a show that, listen, they're going to be fine matches. They're going to be good, but you're kind of excited for it because you haven't really seen it much, and they're promoting it. So now I know, oh, man, you know what? I kind of want to see this Penta match with Cody. Amazing what happens when you promote matches.
Yeah, and you want to see Mox and Kingston versus the Good Brothers because you know it's going to be fun. It's going to be hard-hitting. There's something charming about all those dudes wrestling each other with, like, no restraint, Yeah.
Q&A time, boys and girls. Submit your chat room questions to MG Geek and Jonathan, and they'll post it in our notes, and we will we'll go through with it.
All right. You ready for the first question, Andrew?
Let's do it.
Andrew? All right.
Andrew.
Eric Prezano asks, do I need to cancel the WWE Network subscription?
I don't know. I will ask all those questions this week. I don't know. I would say I don't know. I have no idea.
Okay. Fair enough.
Sorry.
Transferring Heat podcast. Thoughts on AEW's ratings from last week?
The ratings were very competitive. I did think NXT would do much better because they promoted some really awesome matches for this week's TV. For last week's TV, I should say. But AEW should have done a much higher number. I'm very curious as to why they didn't. I don't think it's an indicator of anything, but it is interesting that they didn't really have, like, I expected at least 800,000 views.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I was in the low 8s if I were to guess. But listen, there's so many different factors here. So we'll see what happens this week. But I would say that if I was AEW, I would be a little bit disappointed in those numbers. If I was NXT, I would be happy that I was able to put together a lot more people. They got the number went up by like 20%. NXT. So they listen, it's a very small pool. They're working with the same 1.5 million people. Sometimes one does better than the other, but there should be more at this point, especially after a big pay-per-view like that.
Good answer. Fifth Generation Carney asks, do you guys want to see Timmy Thatcher join Imperium?
No, I don't want to see that because I think that's going to take away from the tiny bit of personality we've seen from him. And he's good on his own with this. I'm not a listen, if you've listened to the show for years, you know that I've seen Timothy Thatcher wrestle God knows how many times. He never does. He's a phenomenal technician. He's a great wrestler, but they've never emphasized on a character and a personality. And we're starting to see that now. I think if he goes to Imperium, it might remove him from that because those guys aren't very, they're not loud personalities.
Yeah. I agree with that. Also, like I said a couple of weeks ago, I really want to see how this quote unquote golden lovers relationship with Tommaso Ciampa works out.
Oh yeah,
It's very
bizarre.
it's a very will they or won't they situation, I think.
Will they or won't they?
Let's see. This is the question the mark. I haven't watched WWE in a long time. Just no interest. Are they still using Goldberg?
They used them a couple months ago, right? What was it? About a month and a half ago, month ago. So he has another 2 matches or another match. I can't remember if he has 2 or 1, but there's another match coming. I just don't know where.
Does Andrew know if the Hall of Fame will be pre-taped?
That's a great question. I could ask. That's a very good question. I don't know. I haven't asked. I would imagine if you don't have an audience there, then yeah, right? How the hell are they doing the Hall of Fame? Are they going to do it like in a banquet hall like they used to with just the wrestlers?
That'd be cool. That'd be fun. They could, honestly, they could do it in the Thunderdome and just, have a stage.
Yeah.
And the speeches, which are fine. I always like the Hall of Fame in the full arena because you see like when the wrestlers pop for each other and all that stuff. Let's see what else do we have here. Would you have Karrion Kross destroy Finn a few times and then have Finn and that unlocks the demon for Finn?
Yeah, I could see them doing it that way. That they got to get the demon out of him, but maybe he loses and that's what brings the demon out. Where he took this great beating from him and he just didn't have enough, so now the demon's back to attempt to get his title.
I wouldn't mind a cinematic match. You can do that in one match. If you have a cinematic match between Karrion Kross and Finn Balor, much like that Bray Wyatt match from last year, where they're 2 out of 3 falls. On the 3rd fall, Finn is gone. Karrion Kross has to look for him. He's backstage. He's somewhere dark. Yeah. Maybe the boiler room.
Always
who knows? Inside a cave. Always a boiler room. And then you see the demon come out, and that's the return of the demon for like a little bit. You don't need like all the pomp. I think what hurt the demon was that it killed so hard with the live crowd that they overused it.
Ah, interesting.
Because when he was doing it on NXT and all those takeovers, it was a fun thing for the NXT fans. Because he came out as Jack the Ripper, he came out as Leatherface. I think on the main roster, it was like a little too polished, and it kind of took a little bit of steam away from him.
Yeah. I think it was a little too polished. You're right.
Is from Derek, our buddy Derek. Is Capital Wrestling doing anything these days?
Catalyst Wrestling now. We changed the name, but. Yeah, we're running empty arena shows. We're taping like 6 to 8 weeks worth and then trying it again. It's been very challenging, I'll tell you that. Very, very challenging.
Here. I think this is from Mr. Jonzo or Mr. Gonzo. I'm not sure. It just says me. What's going on with last year's Hall of Fame? New class or repeat of last year?
They're doing a new class and they're going to do repeat of last year. They're doing both.
Okay.
So I don't know if we're going to have like 16 or 20 Hall of Famers in there, but they're going to do, they're attempting to do some this year and all of last year, which is going to be not that easy.
We got a comment. I'm going to interject a comment from the chat room from Alexander saying there is not enough fabric in Jacksonville to make a Penta outfit for Shaq.
I like that. Very true. Have you guys watched Young Rock from Aaron Banks? Yes, I've seen the first episode. My wife and I really liked it, so we have them now banked in our DVR. So we're just going to go through all of them. But it's a fun show, really cute show.
It's a lot of fun. It's very polished because it's NBC. Obviously, The Rock has creative control of it. I always get a kick out of seeing who the wrestlers are that they're using. Like, I think the last episode we watched had a Macho Man, a Junkyard Dog, Andre again. I really like the Andre on that show.
No, he doesn't do that. That's what I wanted. He talks too much. He's too articulate.
He has a little bit of the
big stinky giant
accent.
Big stinky giant.
I think we got one more question.
Let's do it.
From John Gorman. MJF turning on the Inner Circle was a great way to end Dynamite last week. Does this lead to Blood and Guts?
You know what? I know that they want to do Blood and Guts again. or do it, right? Because they never got a chance to do it. So if you have, I mean, this would be it, right? They got the New Horsemen and they got the Inner Circle. Yeah. MJF turning, very good ending. Very good ending. That was really well done. I got to tell you,
it was fun. So how do you feel about like the five horsemen now? So you have MJF, Wardlow, Sean Spears, and FTR.
Yeah, you got 5 with Tully as their manager.
How do you feel about that? What do you think they should be called?
I don't know what they're going to be called. I think this is MJF is going to lead that whole show, right? I think it's going to be interesting to see the dynamic between MJF and the Revival or FTR. Yeah. I don't know how well it's going to mesh.
Okay.
Because unless he puts them over, like he's going to have to put them over and talk about how great these guys are and they're the greatest tag team in the world. Sean Spears still kind of gets lost in the shuffle, but I hope this is kind of like a reinvention of him.
I hope so, man. Do you think that chair shot to Cody hurt him a little bit?
That should have elevated him. I feel like they just didn't move forward with it. They didn't really move aggressively forward.
It was a good reveal. I like I kind of like a little bit of that Japanese style of booking where like everybody's in a faction. AEW.
I have to tell you, I very much like the factions. I do, because it makes sense. It makes sense if you're getting attacked that someone's going to come out and help you, right? And the heels are always the one in factions. The babyfaces never have factions.
So that leads me to my next question, which is now your prayers have been answered. Mox finally has a friend.
Mox finally has a friend in Christian, yeah.
Well, Eddie Kingston
and Christian.
Do you think we're gonna get an AEW version of the Shield?
Oh my God! Can you imagine they do the entrance, but in fatigues? Like, you know what they're gonna do? The Capone and Noriega cover in Laugh Track City. That's what I want to see. Mox and Eddie Kingston replicate. If you don't know what that is, look it up.
Give me your
War
two
Report.
Guys.
War Report. That was the album.
Okay. Give me your 2 guys that you'd want to see in AEW's version of the Shield.
Oh, definitely it has to be Mox and Kingston, right? Who would be the third one?
Wardlow. Wardlow needs to fulfill the Roman part.
I was going to say Wardlow. That was the name. That's the only name that came to mind. That's the only name.
I would love it just to see like how they could pull it off. Just like how dopey it would be to have this dude in a trio again.
Eric in our chat says, what happened to the AEW audio in the middle of a match or two? They got completely screwed up. Yeah, it was the Ethan Page match. It wasn't AEW. It was actually TNT screwed up at their main hub. So they were sending the satellite, obviously, or the fiber optic, however they send it now, to the main distribution hub, and they piped in the NBA games audio on TNT.
How great was that? So
they screwed up, and it took them a while to realize what the hell was going on, which was really weird. It was really messy, but it wasn't on the Fight TV app or any of the other ones, just on the Turner feed. Very interesting.
Yeah, that was awesome. I had a lot of fun tweeting about that. That was great.
It was really, 5th generation Carney says, it was pretty sweet hearing some Marvin Gaye during the middle of that match.
Oh, it was awesome.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Let's do one more question.
Yeah, let's do it.
I guess. Let's see. We have Alexander asking, why is Cornette an a-hole and has he burned every bridge?
No, because he's a Carney and he's working everybody.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's in reference to him
hating the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega.
Well, over the weekend, he mentioned that Penelope Ford was a little loose in the caboose, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh, really? Really?
Yeah. And like he took to Twitter and kind of buried Miro, Kip, and Penelope Ford.
I don't like him.
Yeah.
Weird. I don't know. I think he's such a great mind for wrestling, but I feel like I feel like he thinks that his audience, this is what will build him an audience, which it has, right? But I think if he was a little bit less of a heel, it would be a very different conversation about Jim Cornette. Because remember, Jim Cornette, very talented. And he was doing unbelievable work on NWA. I think Jim Cornette leaving NWA was a big hit. I understand why he had to go, right? What was the joke? It was the fried chicken joke, right?
Yes.
That he has said a multitude of times on TV. I mean, over the last 3 decades, he has said that joke multiple times. I don't believe he meant it in a racial way, but it was a very insensitive comment to make.
Listen, if you're in broadcasting,
in the time that we're in,
listen.
You don't slip. Listen, it's a standard, right? And forget about cancel call, forget about all that. But I would never, and we take stuff to a line on the show, right? When we do the watch alongs, we joke about stuff, but it's never harmful in any way. But it's also not insensitive of terrible things happening. So
yeah, you got to read the room.
You got to read the room. If you said it in 1993 and you've said it in 2003 and you said it in 2013, maybe you should think, always reevaluate yourself. That's all I'm saying. I think
absolutely.
Yeah, it was a starvation joke from the 80s that we've all heard 5,000 times. Listen, am I offended by it? No, I'm not. But I would also have a little bit more wherewithal to realize, like, I got to read the room. I got to realize what we're in right now, what's happening around me, what's happening in the world. Maybe that joke is not going to get over as well as it did. That's all.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think, that there's a huge difference between, like, say, like a Cornette saying something that he shouldn't have tried to bring back to the modern era, and like somebody like Bill Burr who will just go off on like you know what I mean?
I would say this. I would say that prior to a lot of the speak out stuff happening and Cornette's NWA issue, there would have been a very good chance to see him in AEW in some capacity, and even WWE in some capacity.
Sure. Yeah.
I think that people recognize the amount of talent Jim Cornette has in wrestling. And I'm not I don't listen to his show enough to really know what he says or dislike or like him. I just know that he has this unbelievable experience and he's like a freaking encyclopedia when it comes to wrestling. Outside of that, I don't know. I don't really follow his political stance. I don't know what he's into. I don't care to know, really. I don't try to follow it. I don't really care what anybody's political stance is, to be honest. My opinion on Jim Cornette is that he's very entertaining and he's a great speaker, but I think he's trapped in a gimmick right now. That's all.
You just don't like flat earthers.
You know what? I want him to start flat earthing everybody.
Yo, I'm a flat earth you.
I'm gonna flat earth you. Come here. So it's interesting. Very interesting. Jim Cornette said that Tony Khan reached out to him before starting the company, and they spoke, and he signed a non-disclosure agreement. Yeah, I mean, listen, if anybody speaks, like, that doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to use him for anything, but they might have hired him as a consultant or paid him a little bit to just get his opinion on stuff. I've had that happen with me with certain things where I sign an NDA where I cannot talk about a deal or talk about assisting in something or helping with something, but I'm not an employee. They just reached out to me. They don't want me to post getting paid, go out and start talking about what they're planning. So it's a very common thing to do that. And it's a very common thing to go to your detractors and do that with them as well. Where if someone is very vocal about stuff, you sometimes soften the blow and you bring them in to talk to them about stuff and kind of get their opinion. And when someone feels that they're heard, it kind of softens the blow a little bit, and it also prevents them from talking as much. So it's multiple tactics here. I'm not saying that's what Tony Khan did, but
yeah. No, it's just business.
Yeah, just business. All right, guys, that's it for this week. I got to get on the 12:18 to Manhattan. I'm going to work today, so we'll be back on Thursday with another episode of Mat Men, a regular time, 11 p.m. Thursday here on the East Coast, live on YouTube, youtube.com/MatMen Podcast. You can go there. Guys, hit the subscribe button while you're here. If you haven't already, go to your favorite podcasting app. Doesn't matter what it is. Look up Mat Men Podcast and subscribe. Spotify, iTunes, Pandora we're on. Amazon we're on. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, check us out there. For all things Rich, and of course, Behind the Counter 2.0's back. One of my favorite comic book podcasts. Rich interviews an artist or somebody from the comic book world each and every week. releases them live on Saturdays. What else can you tell us, Rich?
It's at BTC Rich X on YouTube. And as always, you can follow me at BTC Rich on Twitter, which is mainly what I use to post my nonsense.
So Mr. Gonzo could start posting those also on GFQ.
Yeah, I got to send him the files.
Yeah, and Suncast needs to set them up too, so we'll do that. And that's it, guys. You can follow me at Andrew Zarian, on Instagram, Facebook, everywhere you could imagine. TikTok is Mattman Pro Wrestling TikTok. What else? Twitter, Mattman Podcast on Twitter, and everywhere else. Just look up Mattman. We'll see y'all next time, guys. Take care.